Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third episode of the Yuba Probation Podcast. I'm Senior Deputy Probation Officer Jarod Read, and this month I have the honor of having two wonderful individuals from our institutions here, Supervising Juvenile Correction Officer Bridgette Jackson and Juvenile Correctional Officer Blake Baca. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Good. How are you?
You guys excited, nervous?
We're excited to be here.
A little excited, a little nervous too?
Maybe.
It's all right to be a little bit nervous. Part of the reason why this is such a huge honor for me is Bridgette is the 2021 Peace Officer of the Year for the Yuba County Probation Department. She was recognized recently this last month, you may have seen her in the paper, by the Yuba County Board of Supervisors, Assemblyman James Gallagher, I believe State Senator Jim Nelson was there. All sorts of wonderful proclamations that I hope you have hanging up in the hallway at home now. You can show your guests when they come over how cool and awesome you are. But Bridgette, explain to me why how you feel about being the Peace Officer of the Year.
Well, I feel really honored to be selected for that award. You know, I was voted by all my peers, and it means a lot to me. The award is so much bigger than me. You know, this is the first year that the juvenile correction officers, institution staff were included in that award, and so it means so much to me because I feel like it just brought a whole bunch of light onto juvenile corrections officers and the work that we do there. So,
Gotcha. A little bit of backstory about the award. It's been given out for decades, and it's traditionally always been awarded to a probation officer at the department. Like Bridgette said, this is the first year that's been available to institution staffs, and it's the first year, obviously the first year was available to institution staff. It's the first year that we had an institution staff win it, and it definitely is overdue because you guys do a lot of great work out there at the institutions. I believe both you guys are currently assigned to our Camp Singer program, right?
correct.
Yep.
All right. So, Bridgette, you touched on a little bit about the work that juvenile correction officers do. Blake, give us a little snapshot on what a day in the life of a juvenile correctional officer at Camp Singer's like.
Oh, man. Well, at the camp, we get them up early in the morning, get them exercising, take them to breakfast. We have them do chores, shower them up, get them to class. They get to go to school. After school, they're offered programs like welding, construction, so they're learning a lot of very good trades to learn. Mm-hmm. And from there, go to lunch. Then they get to do their LME, large muscle exercise, so they get to go out, play some basketball. Gives us a good time to, build some rapport with them, play ping pong together in the arena. And then from there, start programs. They have a variety of programs that they're offered every day. Mm-hmm. That kind of helps them, teaches them, stuff to learn, how to prepare them for when they are able to get back out. And then dinner, and then night shift goes on.
All right. It's definitely a full day worth of activities,
Yep.
Particularly the camp. I know there's not a lot of downtime. There's, no rooms. They're not just sitting around reading books and relaxing. It's a full day.
All right.
Bridgette, will you do me a favor and talk a little bit more about some of the programming you guys do out there at the Camp Singer program?
So, the Camp Singer program is what you said. It's all day, and it's nonstop. It's structured, and it's like that, for a reason, and really trying to keep the kids busy. They do, like Blake said, lots of, we call them CTE classes, but they have lots of opportunity to learn skills that they can apply when they get back out into the community. Like you said, welding, they have the opportunity to work in the kitchen. They're learning CPR. So all these type of programs are extremely helpful for them, to help them transition back into the community.
Okay. So you guys are doing like CPR certification, CT construction training. You said there was welding?
Yeah.
Right? And you guys do that on site, or do we take them somewhere to do that?
We take them to the school, what is it, Cardin School or
Take them to charter school.
charter school, yeah, and they do it there, and they get a chance to get their certificates there as well.
Okay. So they could potentially leave the camp program with a certificate to help them out and be more desirable to potential employers because they've already received that. And right now, so it's a regional institutions. We got Colusa County, Sutter County, and Yuba County. But Camp Singer's special because it goes out and gets other counties' kids as well, correct?
Yes.
Do we have any Addy County kids right now?
Yeah, we have Tehama and Napa County. I think that's it for right now, but yeah, that's the cool thing about the camp is, it gives other kids opportunities to, try this program out. A lot of them come, from their counties and have been, confined for some time now, and this is just like another opportunity for them to do something. And a lot of the other counties don't have camp programs, and we do, so we do get a lot of folks coming out this way.
Okay. Yeah, it's cool that it has had that reach into other communities, and it's a program that other counties trust to send their youth. It's not a lighthearted decision for, say, Napa County to say, hey, we're going to send you so far away from home. They wouldn't do it if they didn't trust the program they were getting at Camp Singer. And a lot of that, was dependent upon the people like you guys at Camp Singer to provide good quality programs. Blake, I know you haven't had the experience of being in the hall. Bridgette, tell me a little bit about our juvenile hall.
Well, the juvenile hall is a little higher security than the camp. They do have rooms, and they have, just a different facility layout, and there's a lot more that has to go into programming and providing those type of services just because of its security risk and just things we have to look at. But I think the department does a really good job of providing the youth there with, good programming and services using outside providers, the staff programs, and yeah.
Gotcha. Education is a huge part of both Camp Singer and the juvenile hall. And correct me if I'm wrong, they're still getting a full curriculum of high school courses while they're there?
Yeah, they do. And then, the kids that do graduate high school, we actually set them up with college classes or some type of certificated program, whether it be, like a Safe Serve. We just had a youth take a Safe Serve class, and that helps them, when if they want to go work at a restaurant, or even if they want to work in our kitchen there. So stuff like that. So we keep education going.
Okay. That continuing care, so that when they get out of the juvenile hall, they hopefully never find themselves in any other institutions or correctional facilities. What are the kind of kids you guys are seeing starting the hall? Like, what kind of kids are usually incarcerated inside the juvenile hall?
What do you mean, like what type of kids?
Like, tell us a little bit about the kind of offenses or some of the challenges that you see when it comes to kids who get incarcerated in the juvenile hall. Paint a picture for the community, if you will, of some of the kind of challenges and day-to-day things that you're working on with the youth that are incarcerated.
Well, I'd say that, a lot of youth that come in, have come from places where either they lack structure and sometimes support and discipline. And so I think it is challenging to, try to take someone who isn't used to that environment and then place them in this different environment, and try to get them to comply. And because ultimately you want them to work with you because you're trying to help them. You want to, help with the rehabilitation process. You want to help them reintegrate back into the community or with their families. And when you're getting so much pushback, it's hard, but, you just got to keep being consistent and keep trying and keep building relationship so that you could get, some compliance from the kids, and then you could start working on what they need to work on to get them to where they need to be.
Gotcha. So it's not just providing security for the youth, security for the facility. It's being a mentor, right? Being a positive role model and someone, you build rapport is the best word for it.
Yes.
With these youths. And that's ultimately important so you can help them see kind of the direction that hopefully they decide to go with some of these other programmings. What impact does, say, mental health have inside the facility? You guys seeing mental health cases? Are you seeing like severe drug cases, even though they're juveniles under the age of 18 in the facility? What kind of things are you seeing?
Yeah, I would say the mental health cases and the drug cases are rising, and it's becoming more. It's more common than not. is what I would say. I don't know if you agree with that, or more than before from what I've heard.
Okay. So what kind of services do we provide people who are suffering from mental illness but ultimately find themselves either in the camp or in the hall?
We have therapists, on-site therapists at both the camp and the juvenile hall, and we have therapists who are after-hour therapists as well. And so, the struggle with dealing with kids who are struggling with mental health issues is, they need a more intensive type of treatment and care and attention, and that's just hard for us to do in that facility. But we do a great job of, working with those kids and, dealing with that stuff head on. But ultimately, those are the recommendations that we're, going back to probation and saying to the DPOs and saying, look, this is the type of behavior and this is what we're seeing. And this is like, from the therapist and the teacher, and overall, they just need some additional services, or, we need to look at something else and see how we can, provide for this kid.
Okay. Definitely trying to treat the whole person and not just treating them as someone who's come afoul of the criminal justice system. That's good. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Blake, put you on blast being only 21, kind of young getting into probation. I'm interested to know more about your story, man. How did you come to want to be a juvenile correctional officer at such a young age?
Yeah, ever since I was young, I've always wanted to do something law enforcement, be a police officer or something. I always thought it was a very respectable profession. So I went to college. I got an associate's degree in criminal justice. That grew my interest even more. And then I found out about the job and applied, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it?
Yeah.
Tell me more about some of the mentors you had along the way, because in the pre-production meeting, there were some names dropped. So
yeah, so I've known Chief Arnold for many years. I played baseball with his son, since we were very young. Matt Riccardi was my baseball coach in high school. So once I started being ready to get my foot in the door, get the ball rolling in my career, I reached out to them and asked for advice, and they mentioned working at the hall, and so then I applied, and here we are.
There you are. It's definitely a great place to get your feet wet if you're planning on getting into law enforcement. As you guys already touched on, you're going to deal with, unfortunately, drug addiction. You're going to deal with mental health cases. You're going to deal with combative behavior, and it's a good place to build your skills on how to handle that in an effective and safe manner, for sure. Bridgette, how did you come to the Yuba County Probation Department?
So I was actually kind of the opposite of Blake. I, didn't see myself being in law enforcement at all when I was younger. I actually, struggled a little bit through, my teenage years, and, ultimately what I realized is that I just want to help people, and I want to specifically work with kids, help kids. I've been in some of their shoes and can relate a little bit to what, a lot of these kids have gone through. And so for me, you said the word mentor earlier, having support and a mentor and someone you could go to and someone to help guide you through things makes a big difference, in life. And so I made my way to, after high school, I worked mental health actually for 10 years, a level 14 group home with severely emotionally disturbed kids. And at some point we started getting a large population of kids who were more, coming from probation. They were dual placement, they were awarded the courts, but they were also on probation, and less mental health issues and more just defiance, and, needed some guidance and some structure. And so I wanted to be able to relate to, how those kids were seeing things. And so actually got with Dan Rittner, and he set up a tour for me at the juvenile hall and the camp, and James Morales took me on a tour, and then from there I applied after that. I enjoyed it.
All right, got to have some good conversations with Dan Rittner, who's a supervising deputy probation officer, and James Rouse, who's currently our adult program manager. Didn't explain earlier, Matt Riccardi, that Blake said he talked to, is currently our superintendent of institutions. So definitely a good person to reach out to if you're planning on getting into juvenile correctional officer sort of career. What kind of advice would you give to someone? We'll start with you, Blake. What kind of advice would you give to someone who wanted to get in to being a juvenile correctional officer?
I would just say, definitely do your research, know what you're going to be facing on a day-to-day basis. Take a tour, I think that's huge. Ask for advice. Talk to people who have done the job or work at the job. And that would be my main advice. Just do your research. You want to be fully bought into it, ready to represent a department before you go and apply somewhere not certain, especially something like this.
Okay. Ready to represent a department, that's a pretty good answer. Because you got to be able to work as a team, right? When you're working inside of juvenile institutions, the working together as a team is very important. Bridgette, what advice would you give?
Well, I agree with, a lot of stuff Blake says. I would just add that, you should be prepared. This job is, can be stressful. It is a high-stress job. It could be mentally draining at times. And, be prepared for that. Have a relaxation plan or a, decompress plan, and, have things that that you can do when you get stressed, hobbies or people to talk to, because you're going to need to reach out to those folks or, get into those things sometimes after a long day of work. I think, teamwork is another big thing. If you can't come into this profession and just think that, you're going to succeed by yourself. It's not going to happen. It takes all of us working together. That includes the DPOs, that includes the management team, the therapists, the teachers, the medical department. It's a whole bunch of people involved in, what we do and how we make things work. And so I would really stress if you don't have a team-oriented mindset, then, you got to work on that. This is not the place for you.
This is not the place for you.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely takes a village to succeed.
It does.
It's that old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a bit of a village to manage a juvenile correctional institution, for sure.
Yes, it does.
You touched on a little bit, Bridgette, what are some things you do to decompress? What are some things you do to address, I would say address your mental health, but I think mental health is just fine. But what do you do to decompress after a long day?
I like to go to the gym. I like to work out. I really enjoy trail running. I really enjoy woodworking, whether it's building barn doors or just doing some type of art with wood. I just like art and wood, and so stuff like that. I just like to be outdoors. I like hiking, that kind of stuff.
I want you to talk a little bit about one of your other hobbies and passions that you didn't touch on, and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
My axe throwing?
Your axe throwing.
I do like axe throwing. I really like it, actually. It's a safe way to get some stuff off your chest, but there's a whole process to it, and they make some pretty cool axes too.
Yeah, you were telling me about something like the Viking axes that you were looking into.
Yeah.
I was very, very shocked that you were
Yes.
so dedicated and interested into your axe throwing.
I am very into Vikings and axe throwing, so yeah.
All right. Mr. Baca, what do you do in your spare time, sir?
I'm not as interesting. I just like playing golf, really. I don't have an axe collection or anything, but I really like playing golf, yeah.
Has anyone told you you're a bit of an old soul? Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah. Well, I get a lot. You don't seem like you're 21. You seem a lot older, yeah.
You do, because it's hey, what do you do in your spare time? I just like playing golf.
Yep. I love it.
I get off work, go play golf.
Yep.
You do. You come off with a level of maturity that isn't commonly seen. So I'm going to ask you, man, how did you get to be such an old soul at such a young age?
Well, when I was younger, I had to go through a sort of traumatic experience very young, and I didn't really have time. I couldn't have the chance to, whine and complain. You had to face some music and get it done on your own. There's no one else that's going to help you, get through that. So I would say that that experience was what helped me mature quicker than most kids.
Do you want to give more details about that?
Yeah. So when I was 7, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And so just that alone, that fight, because I was so young, it was a longer fight than it might have normally been for like an adult. So it was very long, very hard. And like I said, I was only 7. It was only up to me, obviously, I had my parents helping me out and everything,
Right.
but, it was up to me to keep fighting, to keep going.
Yeah.
So there was not much time to be, a little whiner, so that kind of helped me mature quick.
Gotcha. Definitely a different perspective on life at such a young age.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of cancer was it?
It was stage 4 lymphoblastic lymphoma, so it's cancer in the lymph nodes.
Gotcha. I don't even know what a lymph node is, but that definitely sounds very serious. And then how long was that battle?
So I had to do chemo for 3 years. Like I said, it was, what it would normally have been had to be stretched out because I was so young. So yeah, I had to do chemo from 7 to age 10. And then when I was 10, I was cured, but then there's the 5 years of remission period where, it's the most likely to come back within those 5 years. So I was fully cured at 15.
Okay.
So the whole fight was 7 to 15.
So cancer-free for 11 years now, if I'm
Right.
doing my math correctly.
Yep.
Right. Almost 12 years, 'cause aren't you celebrating a birthday here soon?
Actually, yeah, April 15th was my birthday,
April
so
15th,
22 now.
22 now. I've mislabeled you this entire time. I apologize, sir. How many hospitalizations do you think you had?
Oh, my God.
in those-
I mostly lived at the hospital. I would go home for like, a week at a time, 2 weeks at a time, and then I'd be back. So, yeah, a majority of my time was at the hospital.
Man, that's it's powerful to listen to, and for you to come out the other side of that, as well put together and adjusted as you seem to be. You've kind of earned those rounds of golf.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Just put it out there, you've kind of earned those rounds of golf.
Yeah,
How important was your family during that time to you, man?
that was huge, because I was obviously, again, so young. My mom couldn't work, so she had to take time off to take care of me. Someone still has to pay the bills, so my dad was constantly working, so it definitely took a team effort and a ton of stress, and my sisters, because they were both always busy, had to go places to stay, all the time, different homes, so it was tough on everybody. It wasn't just me.
Yeah.
It was tough on the whole family, so definitely took a team effort to pull through.
Man, this is deep. That's definitely something. It explains your maturity. How does it feel being such a younger officer and supervising people who truly aren't that much younger than you?
Right. It's tough sometimes, when sometimes, the kids might look at me as, you're not much older than me, but I feel like I've gotten a lot of help from the people I've worked with. I worked with Bridgette, my first shift, Ben, a few supervisors, Eddie, that's helped me. I ask a lot of questions, a ton of questions. I feel like that's helped me out a lot, build rapport with the kids, and so I feel like I've done an all right job of building rapport, which has made the age thing kind of not matter,
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
So if you can get them to look up to you as a mentor, like we said, the age doesn't matter. It's what they look at you as. If I'm being a role model, they're not going to see me as a 21-year-old. They're going to see me as a mentor. So
Okay. How many months you been on the job?
8.
8 months. 8 months. Still hoping to get past probation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Waiting for that last. Actually, no. It's every 3 months. You get what? One more. And then
I
one
think
more after that?
I have one more, right?
One more, maybe 2 more.
2 more.
You gotta get
2
to
more.
the year mark. You gotta
2
get to
more.
the year mark. I wish you the best of luck in that.
Thank you.
It's not stressful at all. I promise. Don't worry. That last one, you're like, oh man, I hope they don't send me away now. That'd be rough. You talk about being a mentor and being someone that they can look up to. So talk more to building rapport. Like, I know you've only been doing it for like 8 months, and I'm
Right.
sure in that time, like, you've seen different styles from different officers. To you, like, what works best? Do you need to be like center when it comes to like rules and don't out discipline, or do you need to be super tough the whole time and just absolutely hammering on people? I mean, there's the other end of the spectrum. You got juvenile correction officers. They existed when I worked there nearly a decade ago that just almost never enforced the rules, but their shifts went smooth because they never enforced the rules. So, you know, where do you fall on that spectrum, man? Where?
I would say a balance. I think, great advice I got too is if you come in, you know, too much of, you know, the tough guy, they're not going to want to respect you, you know. So I think if you show them that you care, you're not just there to, you know, collect a paycheck or whatever. Show them that you care and that, you know, you're investing your time in them, and then they'll want to listen to you. You don't have to be the tough guy. You just tell them once, and it's, you know, it's that mutual respect thing. You know, I'm here for you, but when I'm, you know, you got to respect me at the same time. So I would say a good, nice balance is
right, because you can't just let them, you know, walk all over
right.
you in
No,
the facility,
yeah.
but at the same time, I mean, I agree with you. I think that was definitely something I tried to do. My 4 years worked in the juvenile hall. You know, is definitely be able to keep them disciplined without being too extreme,
right.
but also at the same time, you can't let everything slide or
Exactly.
stuff gets out of hand pretty
Right.
quick. And Bridgette, similar question for you. Like, how do you feel about that spectrum I just kind of mentioned? We're being super strict all the time or being too lax. Like, where do you fall? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, I usually, I really do try to work with the kids, and I'm not breaking rules or, you know, allowing them to break rules. I just really take time to address whatever the issue is. So if, you know, and there's a time and a place, right? There's, you know, there's times where, you know, I could just have a conversation. There's times where I need to do extra stuff or it's been continuous, and but I try different interventions, and maybe it's not me they need to talk to. Maybe I would send Blake, like, hey, go try and talk to this kid, and this is what the expectation is, and see if they will talk to you. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But, you know, I'm very, very direct, and I have pretty firm boundaries. But the kids know that about me. You know, I set those expectations and boundaries in the beginning. But it is a respect thing, you know, and I think Blake does a really good job. I just wanted to point this out that, you know, when he first started, I would see him come on to work, and then he would go, you know, I won't say shake hands, but fist pound everyone because it was COVID. So, but, you know, but the thing is, he would acknowledge every single kid and say hello or, you know, how was your day? And it's so important to do that. It is. And he did that, and that's one of the reasons why he stands out to me.
Okay. And you know, he touched on a little bit in your answer, is the kids got to know you care. They have to know that you're not just there collecting a paycheck, and you're not just there to watch them, you know, and enforce the rules. They got to know that you actually care, and I'm sure you guys will agree with this statement. These kids are smart, and they're definitely able to read people. So if you come into the field and you're attempting to work in the institutions, and you're any sort of fake about what you do or your level of care, they'll just absolutely not respect you or eat you alive when it comes to the level of disrespect they provide or just non-compliance they do. So that's important. I'm sure you guys would agree with this. Don't come try to work in our juvenile institutions if you don't actually care about helping kids be better.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Absolutely.
And another big thing is just being honest, keeping your word. You know, a lot of these kids come from backgrounds where they've just been let down, or they haven't had things and they were promised things and never got them. So if you tell a kid, I'm going to grab you some toilet paper, you best go get some toilet paper. Like, don't, you know, wait or forget or go on to the, you know, let several hours go. It's the littlest things. If they ask for a piece of paper, you know, yeah, it's not life-threatening, a piece of paper, but it just shows them that you're following through, and it's like, oh, okay, I can trust this person. It is the littlest things, like a piece of paper.
A piece of paper.
I'm not even kidding.
Or a roll of toilet paper.
Or a roll of toilet paper.
That could be a
Yeah,
matter of
but yeah,
importance. Just put it out there.
Yeah, just little things like that. Just
Just-
follow through.
Okay. We're going to wrap it up, guys. So is there anything that we didn't touch upon that you want people to know about our juvenile institutions?
I would just say that, you know, we are a small little, we're a smaller county, but I really do I really do enjoy working for the smaller county because I feel like it gives us an opportunity to just work closer as a team, and we work with, the courthouse staff, the DPOs, and, we see the managers, and the managers know our name, and I always say that, like, not to say anything bad about other departments, but the bigger departments, there's just more pieces going on, but I don't know, I just like this little tight-knit, team we have here.
It actually is a huge benefit to, one, know your chief.
Yeah.
That your chief knows your name, and you can always walk in to the chief's office if you had a problem. Same
Right.
thing with Matt's office out
Right.
there. If you ever needed to go talk to the superintendent, he's right there on site. You
Right.
can talk to him. I know Laura's office is
Yeah.
right across the hall from the supervisor's desk there at the camp.
Yeah, everyone's door's open, and that's important, and we help each other out, pick each other up, and, yeah, like I said, if you're thinking about coming over to check us out or work with us, there's, you can reach out to the department if you want to set up a tour. I know you can check out CalOps or the Yuba County website. They have the job description and some information on there. Check out our Facebook page, see what we've been doing, and, at the department. There's a lot of good things happening right now, so, yeah.
Blake, anything else before you go, sir?
Yeah, just for me as like one of the newer guys and the, young guy, the camaraderie was huge for me. I felt like I came in and was able to ask anybody, everybody was so nice, so helpful. I never got the feeling like, oh man, I feel like I'm bugging them, or maybe I should stop asking them, questions. Everyone welcomed me in with open arms, and that was huge for me. And I always played sports growing up since I was young, so I knew what it was like to work as a team. So coming into that, seeing how close and tight-knit everyone was amazing, 10 times easier.
Yeah, so the importance of culture then coming from teams, and that is excellent to hear. I've been working in the facility for the better part of 9 years, but it's excellent to hear that the culture is over there like that. And, Blake, I believe that one day down the road, relatively soon here, there'll be new or even younger officers than you. It's kind of opening when you wake up one day and you're like, oh man, he's 22 and I'm 36, and wow, I've been doing this for a while, because I started in the hall at 22. And you'll probably enjoy the role of being able to be a mentor to younger officers. So with that, I want to thank you guys again for coming on the podcast. I would like to thank everyone for listening to episode 3 here. There should be at the bottom of your screen showing up right about now cool links to episode 1 and 2. If you want to go back and listen to the conversation we had with Terry Ayers last month, or Chief Jim Arnold the month prior. There's also a subscribe button, so please give that a click so you guys always get our new podcast when it comes out. And with that, I bid you guys all adieu.
Thank you.
Thank you.